Hey guys, it's Darlene from Parrot Crush, and this is Julie Girl. She's going to be my helper today, and I was going to talk a little bit about what I do to keep all my birds entertained and enriched in their lives, even though they are caged birds. I try to have the biggest cages that I can for them so they can at least fly back and forth in there, and then a lot of toys and things that I make for them are called foraging toys. For a lot of my birds that are out in the aviary and our breeding birds are not friendly with humans, so they need to have things to do during the day that can keep their brains healthy as well as their bodies working. And parrots are, would be very busy in the wild, taking a lot of time during the day to, look for food, dig for food with their beaks. And especially birds that are like conures, like Julie is, they would need to be using their beaks to get into things. So what I do for Julie and some of my other birds is I might take a plastic container such as this and pour some feed in here. Now, usually when I'm starting out with putting something like this in here, I'm going to want it to be more than just maybe their pelleted food, because they're going to want something that's a treat that they would really want to go for, because they might at first be a little bit afraid of all this if they haven't seen this before. So I'll put the seed in there, and then I'll put different types of objects, things that are, relatively parrot safe. You don't want to be giving your birds things that would have, poisonous dyes or inks or things like that, because it's a possibility that they might chew on it. I do find a lot of things at the Dollar Tree. I read the backs to make sure that they don't have poisonous dyes or plastic coatings or things like that that have been sprayed on it. These are all pretty plain. Or also things that are made for human consumption, like these paper straws. They wouldn't make something like this for humans if it was going to be in their mouth. So I figure that these would be safe for parrots. So putting objects in here that they have to kind of, root around and look for food and move to the side and search. Other things that I use around the house, toilet paper rolls, different things like that would go into that. And then just to fill it to the top, I would probably just crumple up some bare paper type towel to put in there to also kind of cover up the area so that they have to look for it. So that would be something I would just stick into the bottom of the cage and leave for them to check it out and play with it and find the food in there. I also do the same with used boxes, like shipping boxes that I get from Amazon or wherever. And I take my regular drill that I have, my home drill, and I'll put on a large drill bit and just, quickly drill into these. If you don't have a drill, even just using your scissors, you can, or a knife, you can poke in there just to kind of give them, an entryway that they can kind of start picking at it. And then I'll also thread through these holes and with some, type of natural twine and just tie this to the cage. Inside of it, again, I would do the same. I'm going to put some seed in there, and then I usually will, do layers of paper and seed in here. Also, there's lots of other things like different fruits and nuts dried that you could put into a box like this that would, give your parrot something to really break into. Some birds, now I'm not sure about like cockatiels. I haven't really put a lot of the boxes in like that for the cockatiels, but they also really like to chew on things. Here's another example of just a box that I got for a present or something, and have made. So different types and shapes that you could then hang and tie things on there for them. You can also stick things inside these holes, you know, to give them something like readily that they could pull out. These are little coin wraps that I also got from Dollar Tree. So that's another little idea for you to keep your bird busy while you're away at work and whatnot. Little plastic straws. I cut these up and use that also the twine and tie those together, and we'll tie these onto the cage so they can mess with these or pull these out. Another little thing you can do. And with these plain wood pieces, I also take my drill and drill holes in there, and then I can string these with maybe some other little things in there to add, you know, to hang from the cage. I mean, it of course, you know, the commercial made toys are always the safest and best, but I know that, you know, it could get expensive after a while. I mean, you definitely don't want to put, you know, the harm of your bird in place of buying toys. But I think if you have some of these little things in between, that it's okay to use them as long as you're careful and know your bird. You know, things to think about when you're tying is just make sure that there's no you know, loops or things. You know, I try to tie it so that the ends don't have loops, so it's just a straight, you know, like this, so that it, you know, it doesn't have loops and stuff they can get their feet stuck in or their head stuck in, you know. So just think about all those things. And if you see your bird getting stuck in things, you know, obviously immediately take them out. You know, I don't usually give them new toys and things like that, like before I leave. It would more be like giving them things and then seeing how they respond to them and whatnot in the cage. So now also with just if you don't have a big cage to get like a whole plastic bin in, just even putting a cup or your bird's cups in the cage with your seeds or feed in here with some different toys and things to kind of cover it up gives them, you know, still a chance to forage and mess around in there, and gives them something more to do with their brain. Sometimes you can also use some baby toys. These are obviously made to go in human baby mouths. Babies don't, you know, they don't have sharp beaks. So if you really see your parrot breaking things off and ingesting something like this, it's not something you want to use. And realistically, I'm not, any of this stuff, I'm not talking about for any of the larger birds. Your Amazons, macaw, cockatoos, those birds are just, they can really destroy and ingest a lot of stuff. And I think maybe aside from doing the box like this with a larger bird, it probably is, you just really got to be careful with them because they really have the power in their beak to, you know, go through a lot of this stuff. Some of these, you know, smaller things would probably be okay. You know, this type of, you know, thing or whatnot, or paper, just for them to go through. Sometimes too, if I want, once I go from the stage of just putting paper on top, then I also might take some paper like this and just, you know, put some seeds in there and wrap it up so that it gives them another, you know, layer of difficulty in finding it. But if they aren't finding these things and opening them up, then you go back to just kind of putting stuff in there to see if they can figure it out and find it. You know, even something like a the Kleenex box, you know, but I was thinking about this. I don't know what kind of dye might have been used in this. I don't think it's something that if they were to get their mouth on it, that it would have, you know, the, what do you call it, dye, like right there, to get on their mouth. But, you know, they could probably tear up something like this and would enjoy it. Do make sure you take the plastic part out, and then you could put a couple things here and hang that and have some seed and stuff in there. Other things that I know my cockatiels really love these types of things, as long as they're not made with any toxic sort of materials. These I also get at the Dollar Tree. It's just a natural basket wood wreath, and it does tell you kind of if it has anything toxic on this. I would take the plastic and stuff off, but you can just, you know, use some of your twine once again to hang this up in the cage. And my cockatiels like these so much. I mean, they'll go through it in like one day even. You could also tie with your twine some other little things on here and give them more things to pick at and chew on. So those are just some ideas that I do with my birds. You know, I have a pretty full aviary of birds that need different, you know, types of stimulation for their brain, and you know, give them something to do with their captured lives, so to speak, if they don't play with us humans. And there's Julie. She very much loves to play in my hair, so that's her entertainment, and pooping on me, of course. So hopefully this gave you some ideas to do with your birds and have some added entertainment. Again, it's Darlene from Parrot Crush, and we'll talk to you again soon.